been a decade since Amy Winehouse, one of the UK's most iconic musicians with what a voice, died. She was just 27. The beloved singer was an exceptional talent and she's going to be honoured in a new MTV documentary. It's called Amy Winehouse and Me, Dionne's story, and that airs this coming Monday.
Told through the eyes of Amy's goddaughter, Dionne Bromfield, the documentary explores the relationship between the two and pays tribute to their bond. Have a little look. I'm very pleased to say joins us now. Lovely to have you with us, Dionne. It's a very personal documentary, this, and it's a very interesting take because obviously Amy is so lauded and famous for her brilliant talent, and there's been so much printed about all the challenges we went through and the ultimate loss of her life. What was the particular side of her that you wanted to show the world that we haven't seen before?
Just how loving and caring she was. She was a really respectful person. I always say this, Amy was one of those women who, if you introduced her to your nan or your granddad, she would adopt the term like nan, granddad. Like, she was just a very sweet, loving person. And if she felt like you were a loving person as well, she would honestly give everything.
She was your godmother?
She was, yes.
When can you first remember her being around? Because obviously there's a big age gap.
Yeah, exactly. I was roughly around 6 or 7, and I remember my mum couldn't get me a babysitter that day, so she brought me to Amy's house, and naturally, like when you're a kid, if you've got a kid around, she was just kind of like, do you like some juice? Do you want, I've got biscuits in the, you know, the cupboard, do you want some stuff? And I think because I was so young and kind of like innocent, I think she kind of liked the fact that I was just quite young and didn't really care about what was around.
What was around.
Yeah.
And did you love her?
Of course, yeah, and I still do. Do you know what I mean? And I miss her, you know, being here. I really do.
Well, she was only 2 years older than you are now. You're 25, aren't you? When she passed away, it was just. I remember hearing this. I heard it on the car radio, and it was horrible. It was just an awful thing to hear. Where did you hear? How did you find out?
I was actually doing a gig. I was in Wales, and I'm sure you guys have been to festivals, but you can't get any like phone service anywhere. So we were out of the loop for quite a while, and then all of a sudden, everyone kind of, their phones just went mad. And I was about to literally go on stage 15 minutes beforehand, and I think my team that was around me, they were really unsure on what to do. They were like, we just got to go back to London, but no one really knew how to break it to me. And I was in the dressing room with her PA, who was also working with me at the time, and I could see, it's like if there was a sunny day, a dark cloud just all of a sudden appeared, and it was just 2 of us in the dressing room, and he kind of just looked really like grim, and I said, is like everything okay? And he just burst into tears, and for some reason, I don't know why, but I just turned around to him and said, is it Amy? And he said, yeah. And I kind of, it went in one ear, came out the other ear, and you kind of go into autopilot for some reason.
She was a big part of your musical career, and then when she passed away, you took a step back from that. Why did you do that?
I mean, well, I was 15 at the time, and I think there was a lot of emotions that I didn't really know how to deal with. I definitely, like, retracted from things, and you got to remember when it's someone of that magnitude, I didn't know what people's intentions were, so when people would ask me about her, I was a little bit like, do you really care, or do you just want to know?
And of course, those questions would have been based on the fact, and I know you don't want to talk about the addictions and all that, you don't want to go there, and that's absolutely fine. But of course, a lot of those perceptions and the questions that you would have been asked about her would have been based on, I thought she had a terrible time at the hands of the newspapers, actually. I don't think it would happen to her today. I mean, some of the descriptions of her, you know, some of the words and the names and the name-calling that was used, when she clearly had problems and needed sympathy and help, but she didn't get that, she got abuse. And that must have been, I guess that must be one of the reasons you've made this documentary, because you really want to get it out there that she was so much more than that tabloid cartoon.
I always say, you know, that's a 10% of Amy, do you know what I mean? And the Amy that I know and I love and her family and friends love is that Amy, and I feel like everyone should see that and they should really look at that first.
And the reason why I asked you about the music industry, the reason why I asked you about Take a Step Away is because, of course, for you at 15, she had given you a chance, she'd recognised your talent and brought you on in an industry that you were loving, but then suddenly so many questions about the industry and the care of her and all of that. Did it make you question a lot of things in your life?
Yeah, I think the main thing was I lost someone that I loved so much, and I had to deal with that, and I wasn't sure how to deal with that personally at that age and publicly. So for me, it was just kind of like, I think I need to step back and just kind of take care of myself. And looking back at it now, I sometimes am a bit like, did I handle it the right way? I didn't talk to, you know, really anyone. I'm talking about family as well, about how I was feeling, because I was, you know, afraid.
Yeah, of course. And we must talk about her gift. Which is what George Michael used to refer to his voice as. He used to call it my gift, not in a pompous way, but because it was a gift. And like George Michael, she had the gift. Not just of singing beautifully, but a quality to her voice. I remember the first time I heard her, actually, again, on the radio, I thought, who is this? You know, it's just amazing. How old were you when you realised that your godmother actually was very specially sort of endowed with this gift?
I mean, I used to think everyone could sing when I was younger, and then I got reassured that that's not the case. But I was roughly... the first song that I really went, wow, it was actually Love is a Losing Game. She was playing it in her house on the guitar. And I remember I tapped round to her and I was like, you can sing. And then she was
Really
Amy was like, thanks, kind of thing. But, like, that's the first time I really was like, oh, my God, like, this is actually something quite special.
Well,
and it's interesting that when somebody is so famed so widely and then you know them at a personal level. I was lucky because I grew up, didn't grow up at all. I happened to live very close to where she was doing a lot of performing in the small gigs, so got to see her sing. And you would go along and there was always something very different, even at that stage, before everything else came along.
Yeah.
That quality of voice. You're releasing music again now, though, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I've just released a song called Silly Love. After, like, not really releasing anything for a while, and obviously with lockdown, like a lot of other people. So it's good to be doing that. You know, Amy put me on and she really did believe in me, and for a bit of time I was like, is this what I want to do? But I feel like, you know, if all the hard work she put in, I would be stupid to kind of
it's
just
a tribute
throw it away.
to her.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with your career.
Thank you.
And stay well and all the rest of it. And we've seen bits of the documentary. It goes out on Monday, as I said, on MTV. And it's a very sweet, account of a very sweet girl.
Yes.
So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Lovely to see.